All right, what's up, everybody? This is Rob Shack. So today we're going to be doing the next video in my evaluating all the clones in Dynasty Warrior 6. The Dynasty Warrior 6, not 6 special. We'll get to that later. But be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and share. So today we're doing the staff. So 2 characters in the game have the staff moveset. So if you're new, if you're just joining into all these videos I've been doing for the last few weeks on this with my channel, I am just going through and seeing how they tried to differentiate all the movesets in this game, because there's slight differences between the generic movesets that they did. There's the sword, the pike, the club, the spear, the quick sword or rapier, and then this is the staff, and then there's a few other ones which we'll get to in later videos in the future. But yeah, so they basically knew that people were going to be pissed and upset, and for some reason they still did this anyway, but they knew people were going to be mad, so they were like, you know what we're going to do is do a little bit something different, just a little bit, to make it so that they're technically unique movesets, even though they're really not. It's the exact same animations. The characters literally don't do anything different. It's just they change animation, or they change explosions or beams of energy that come out of the things, or AoE, or rings around the character, or stuff like that. That's basically all that they did that was different. So we've been doing that with each moveset. Some of them have actually kind of surprised me. I mean, they put some effort in, but they didn't have moveset for these characters, so they were not as interested in doing anything with them, which I guess makes sense, but I still just don't agree. But they did it. They went through with it, and then it was so odd, as I've said before, there's a Dynasty Warrior 6 special for the PS2, which has decloned quite a few of these people that are in these videos, actually. So it's pretty funny that they, for some reason, were like, you know what, we're going to declone some characters in a game that nobody can play, or that people don't even know about. I didn't even know Dynasty Warrior 6 had a PS2 port. That was different. I just kind of assumed it was just the same game, but it wasn't. Very odd that they thought that was a good idea, because they totally did it. So yeah, Peng Tong in this game is probably going to be, as I'm seeing right now, they've made him a wind elemental, which is similar to what he was in earlier games in the franchise. He was always a wind person, so I'm noticing that he is doing windy things, just lots of wind around him. Got a windy, he shoots little wind things out, and then he does an explosion, and that's wind. He shoots a projectile, then he has a ground pound that's wind themed somehow. Don't know how you can still do that. And then he has a wind around him thing. His AoE is a double swirl, both wind. One's right around him, one's a little bit in front of him. So we're checking that out. I think someone just despawned right there. That was kind of weird. But his final flurries of his Muso are also what seem to be a wind explosion-y things, like the move right here where he does he holds his hands up. He kind of does that again a few times with his moves, with his end of his Muso. So that's pretty cool. I'm just going to torture Dion Wei for a little bit to keep my Renbu going. I mean, again, everyone's always talked about this. Renbu's stupid. I don't know why they thought it was a good idea to make you get punished for not being in combat or getting hit. It's kind of weird. It's a weird thing to do. So, he also shoots his... It's interesting. Okay, so he just throws his spear around, or his staff around him. Let's see. So he does not do anything very unique. I was hoping they'd flip or fly or something, but it's nothing. So let's see if he still just shoots. He shoots a little wind projectile forward at the end of it. Kind of cool, I guess. So let's see. Okay, so it looks like he shoots a beam out again at the end. Yeah, he does. Okay, and then... So it's just the same as it was before. Okay, so he's just very wind elemental, which makes sense because obviously that's what Peng Tong's always really been. They've kind of always talked about how he has wind as his little elemental thing, which is cool. And I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, obviously these games are based on that Romance of the Three Kingdom thing. I don't know if Peng Tong in history was some sort of wind. Oh, he does shoot out. Okay, so he does shoot out some little beams on his little flourish at the end, which is kind of cool. That's interesting. So there's a little something different there. I'm curious if, I'm assuming Zhang Jia will do something similar, but it'll probably be fire, because he's usually a fire-themed person. But yeah, he has a ground pound, shoots out the energy at the end. It propels him backwards, which is pretty cool. So, but yeah, he shoots little windy things out in front of him. So, again, not a terrible moveset. way better than the club. The club is the worst moveset for sure. Don't know why they make the club so bad, but they do. All right, so that's all we need to see with his. I like his moveset. It's very AoE-esque, but of course, I think Zhang Jiao's is going to be very, very similar. I'm starting to notice, I think I've kind of noticed this already in the past, but it seems like some of these movesets are, when we get near the end, they're not that different because there's a character in the game who has a Muso. So we'll see if there's anything super different. Or later videos, we'll compare Shen Zhang and Yue Ying because they both have bows, and we'll compare Diao Chan to Zhen Ji. I don't know how much is going to be different between them. Ugh, Zhang Jiao looks creepy in that picture right there. That was horrific. Okay. But, yeah, he shoots I already see the fire, so he's got the fire going on. That makes complete sense. Ooh, and then so he has the same animation, but he shoots, it's like his little, Dynasty Warriors 4 or 5 extreme, his true Muso. That's actually pretty cool. They reused that. Koei always has a knack for reusing things, which you can call lazy or, nostalgic. I think they kind of tout that line on purpose, so you can't really get mad at them for trying to do that. But yeah, so he's clearly throwing fire. He has a very similar fire projectile to Peng Tong's wind thing. His explosion on the ground looks a little bit different. I think it probably still has the same hitbox, but it just seems a little bit more focused between one area, so that's interesting, I guess. I didn't actually check that. I'm sure that's just wind versus fire. I didn't check that on Zhang Jiao, or Peng Tong. Oh, so that's way better. Okay, yeah, so he definitely has a better Muso because he blows up the freaking ground instead of shooting a projectile out. So that's way better. Seems like his AoEs are not as good on his charge attacks, but yeah, look at this. Yeah, he like shoots an explosion that goes right in front of him, but pretty much is an AoE. I like this, his charge attack where he creates the ring of fire around him. That's pretty awesome. And hits like everything around him. So pretty cool. I think I would actually give Zhang Jiao some props here. They did a good job of doing something. They actually tried here, but it's funny because again, Zhang Jiao and Peng Tong are not actually characters that you can play as, but they tried. I mean, the staff boost that I knew was going to be cool because you have a little bit more wiggle room to do interesting things. So yeah, he has instead of shooting projectiles out like Peng Tong, he just shoots a fire circle right out in front of him, which is pretty cool. His projectile in the first charge attack is a lot slower than Peng Tong's. Peng Tong's are way faster. That would make sense. Wind versus fire makes complete sense. Let's see if he has anything different with his thing here. Yeah, he just shoots out little fire things. Okay, so very similar. A little bit slower. His fire ones are a little bit slower than Peng Tong's, which again, that would make complete sense. I definitely think Zhang Jiao is way better. Having the little like explosion that goes out in front of him and blows up right in front of his face is basically AoE right in front of him. Like, I think technically things cannot get hit by that, but it's way more solid of a protection for him compared to what Peng Tong does. Peng Tong is a little bit more vulnerable. But yeah, Zhang Jiao's cool. I mean, this is a cool moveset. Again, I always liked the staff moveset in this game because when you fight, because not only does technically other characters, so it's not just Peng Tong and Zhang Jiao who have this moveset, also Zhang Liang and Zhang Bao both have this moveset, so you get the staff moveset quite a bit right at the beginning of the game. So I remember being like, yeah, the staff seems pretty cool. And I stand by that because this is pretty cool. I mean, the fires are slow, and it seems like the fire ones actually home in on people. That seems weird. They definitely seem like they change direction slightly, which is interesting. I mean, it's not super like difficult to avoid, but yeah, this explosion at the end is really good. And then the fire ring when you're surrounded is very, very good. Again, you're still a little bit vulnerable because of the fact that, like, I mean, you're very vulnerable because it's just not an explosion like Peng Tong's is, but it's still pretty cool. So, yeah, I think I'm a fan of the staff moveset. I always knew it was going to be good, and I think Peng Tong's is still really good. I think when you compare all the movesets in this game, I would say that the fire staff the staff is probably one of the best. I think the Pike is probably the actual best, just because every single attack is essentially an AOE, and then everyone else drops from there. But I think the Pike is the best, then the Staff, then the Spear. Sword is kind of rough, and then the Club is complete and molten garbage. And then everyone else from this point is going to be sharing a moveset with someone who has a Muso. So I expect the next few weeks to be interesting. We'll see if there's some changes. I know Yue Ying's has one difference, because I've tried her before and I was very surprised by the difference. So we'll get to that next week. But definitely am a fan of the staff, and I'm a fan of what it can do. You really do just kind of feel safe when you're doing all these attacks. You can really keep yourself protected. Very vulnerable with the area, like the charge attack in the air. It's like not good. If it was like, if the explosion was way more, then I'd be like, cool. Okay, so that's... He just lights them on fire. I'm sure that Pang Tong's is just a wind of that. It's probably the exact same. So, pretty cool that they... Again, like, this is that thing where Koei... They knew people were going to be kind of annoyed, probably, with the way that this game was. Because they knew that people were going to be pissed because they tried. If they didn't think people were going to be upset by this, they would have just, like, let it go and not cared. But clearly, they knew people were going to be upset because they took the time to, like, actually try to do something different with these movesets. Because they're slightly different. But, I mean, again, this is the characters who don't have Musos. So, like, at one point you can say, like, how dare they? But then you're also like, well, these characters are literally unplayable except for free mode. You know, it's not like Dynasty Warriors 9 where they, like, tried to say, these are unique movesets, but they're not. Like, Dynasty Warriors 9, again, is just always going to be the worst game ever for everybody at this point. And anybody who stands up for 9, I'm just like, yeah, you probably are a late fan. You didn't play 8, you didn't play 7, you didn't play any of the good ones. But 9 is just terrible. And at least in this game, even though these characters are totally rip-off clones, at least you're not expected to play through the game with those characters. Because that was what was so weird about games like 9. It's like, yeah, you want me to play through the game with this character who literally doesn't have a difference in their moveset. I might be dead. Let's try to roll away from all that. I mean, this is getting stomped now because all the characters spawn in Rampage with increases in attack, which is funny because then you just get dominated. So the goal is to just try not to die, but I think I'm gonna die. So we did it. I think Zhang Jiao's moveset is way better than Pang Tong's, but that moveset is still really good. So, hope y'all enjoyed this shorter video today because there's less characters with this moveset. So, hopefully y'all enjoyed it. Have a great